I guess I'm live. For some reason, my stream ended. I did not end my stream. It ended on its own. So we're gonna try this again. It's weird. Never happened to me before. I don't do a lot of social media anymore. I'm unsure if I'm gonna ever get back on social media heavy. But let's get right into this conversation. And then I'm gonna talk about this video first before we talk about this conversation. So anyway, let me introduce myself. I'm Ronique. Consider myself kind of a social entrepreneur, I guess. Um, have some nonprofits, help in the community, those type of things. I believe your title changes, who you are evolves. So I'm really not big into titles, but it's a little bit about me. We're gonna talk all about the big beautiful bill, but before we get into that, I'm gonna tell y'all about the day I've had with trying to get this information out. Number one, I decided that I wanted to learn about AI today for some reason, a little bit more about AI. So I, start to generate my character, my cartoon character, playing with different AI systems that can create the video for you, uploading the script, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Learn thing I know. I'm 2 hours in and nothing's really done. And I'm frustrated. Okay, not to say that the systems was really hard. One system I tried was more of an AI video of me, and I was like, I don't want to do that. I'd rather have a cartoon. If I'm going to use AI, I'd rather the cartoon of me be the AI videos, and then any other video be truly of me. I don't want it to be AI. I want to keep my authenticity, lure my abstraction wherever I can, because AI is just distracting our essence and stuff right now. So we'll talk about that in the AI video. This is about the big beautiful bill, and so forth. So that's what we're gonna get into right now, because I don't even know why my video ended. So let me get this information out so we can talk about it. Okay, I wanted it to be a good conversation. I didn't want it to be long, but I also didn't want it to be short because this is some critical data you guys need to be aware of. So anyway, first off, let's talk about the money, because I think you have to put it in perspective of how many people this is going to really impact, and not just talk, about things that really not going to impact a lot of folks. So let's talk about the money. Now, I don't get into the whole party system, all this and that. I'm all about people. Okay. We just, that extraness about party affiliation, all that. I don't get into all that. I'm just about what's going to impact the majority of people wherever I'm at, where I live. I feel like doesn't matter where you're at, country, municipality, providence, etc. I happen to be in the U.S. right now. The A country that's doing well is a country that's taking care of the majority of the citizens. That's just how I look at it. So let's share this graphic right here, and let's talk about the income first, because if you're on social media, if you're heavily on social media, you pay attention to media, it'll make you seem like everybody in America is just rich. Okay, that is not the case. Okay, at all, by a long shot. The majority of people in the U.S., 58% of households earn under 50,000 a year. 76% of the households make less than 75,000 a year. Now, if you are outside the US, you're probably like, oh, that's a lot of money, because the dollar is still doing well, but it is dropping too. Okay. If you're paying attention to BRICS, you're paying attention to the exchange rate. The US dollar is dropping right now. So 75,000 a year is not a lot in the US because of the cost of living. The cost of living has actually been outpacing wages for 30 years, but most people have not paid attention to it. America is very retroactive, and so it's becoming unbearable. That's why people talk about the price of eggs and this and other. Since the pandemic, we had a lot of private equity firms come into a lot of communities, purchase a lot of houses, which has made the rent quadruple or so forth. So think about it. So think about it in this way: where rent used to be maybe from 600 to like $1,200, $1,400, depending upon where you live, et cetera, and so forth. It's now triple that. So 2,400, um, $3,600, those type of things. Okay. And we just talked about the income. So that's just the rent. We ain't talked about food. We ain't talked about transportation. We ain't talked about gas. We ain't talked about daycare. We ain't talking about nothing else. Okay. So that means most people's income is now getting ate up just from their rent or mortgage, because mortgages have went up too, unfortunately, because insurance is all out of whack in America. So it's a lot of things happening all at once in America where the citizens are feeling the pinch. Okay. So let's talk about this. So I want to put that in perspective, because if you don't understand, first of all, where the majority of citizens fall in America, you're going to feel like, well, why is everybody in an uproar? Okay. So we talked about that. Now let's be clear about where the benefits are. So I'm like I said, I'm not any party person or whatever. I'm just a people person. So I'm trying to figure out, okay, where's the benefits at? Because if it's a benefit, honey, we need it. Tell me about the benefits. Let's figure out where the benefits is so people can feel good about it. So let me pull up my next slide here. Sorry, my baby is trying to get in the house. I have an indoor outdoor cat, and he is being a booger right now. Okay, he likes to be outside. So if you are okay, you're hearing a lot about two things. What is it? The tax, no tax on tips. 25 is a limit up to 25,000, and then you're hearing no federal tax on overtime pay. Now you're usually just hearing no tax on tips. They're not telling you the limit. They're also telling you no tax on overtime pay, but they're not telling you the limit. So the tax on tips limit is 25,000. That's number one. Number two, the no tax on overtime pay is 12,500. Now, me being who I am, I'm a little nerdy girl, and I've been in a lot of different roles to understand a lot of different things. My first question was, oh, so they're not withholding federal income tax on payroll checks. Because how do you benefit the everyday person? How do you benefit those that really are 100,000 K or less? Is you give them a break on their payroll taxes. Okay. I know in my lifetime, I can remember it happening once. I can't remember when it was. It was something happened, and it was a break for a little bit. And I start digging into the bill. I'm listening to the videos. I like to listen to people who really don't lean one way or the other, to just kind of give you the straight information on it. And it's like, oh no, it's a deduction when you file your taxes. And on top of that, it ends in 2028. So the tax cuts that, everybody talked about, the 2017 tax cuts that Corporate Guide and a lot of big businesses received, everybody was concerned that they were going to go back to previous times. And so one big thing that our president did was to make sure that those were stayed in place, but it is at the cost of the everyday people, unfortunately. And so the corporate tax cut is permanent, but the worker tax cut, or the somewhat tax cut that you're getting, which is a tax deduction, which I still have not ever experienced where tax deductions have heavily benefit me tax-wise yet. And I don't know what it is. I just feel like if you are in the middle in America, you just get squeezed. And when I say the middle, I'm talking about anything under 200,000. I'm just gonna be honest with you. And so that's the middle. It seems like a lot of money, but America's cost of living is so off right now. It's just you're getting squeezed. Whether it's taxes, whether it's, I don't know, it's just a lot. And so it is interesting to see that. Here I am, like, oh, that's good. They're not going to get taxed on payroll taxes. I'm like, this is going to be a good benefit, at least for a little bit. And then come to find out that it's 25,000 on tips, and it's a tax deduction at the end of the year on your taxes when you file, and then 12,500 on overtime, and it's a tax deduction in the year for when you file. So what that means is that some people are concerned that honestly their tax liability is going to go up, especially like oil rig workers. I've seen a video about them already talking about this and so forth. So Understand what this really means for you. This is not really a benefits kind of wash because you're still getting taxed out of your paychecks. And so then at the end of the year, you go ahead and do your tax deduction. And maybe it's a benefit, maybe it's not. Okay. So it's really truly a toss-up. Okay. So now you got that. Now let's get more into. I'm trying to make sure I'm covering everything. Or the critical points. Okay, the critical points is what we're talking about today. Let's get into the healthcare tax cuts the healthcare cuts. Because this is the part that honestly, when you understand systems and structure, you understand that this is way more than what they're telling you. And I honestly did not dig into it heavy because I was just like, okay, I knew the bill was going to pass, to be honest, because you can just count the votes. It's like what you do when you're dealing with politics, government. You count the votes, no matter if it's local, state, federal. You count the votes. So I was like, okay, this bill is more likely going to pass unless somebody does something extreme. I just didn't see that happening right now. We're not at that point yet. Okay, so I was like, this bill's going to pass. And I know it's going to impact Medicaid, Medicare. And most people are telling you, oh, this is going to impact only low-income individuals, those who can't afford health care, those who are, in this type of situation. They're really not. I'm about to pull up another chart. And so forth. So let me tell you something. First of all, most of the systems in the federal government, state, local government do not talk to each other. Okay. That's a big issue, guys. Number one, it's a big issue on a regular basis. This is about to be a bigger issue because the way that they have created these cuts to happen and so forth, and how they're determining who's eligible or ineligible, is based off of some rule that a decreased workforce is supposed to figure out. Okay. So this is where we're talking about our moms, our grandparents, our kids, our grandkids, even you, if you're a small business owner, you're on ACA, even if you have any type of folks that you know that are in rural areas, the rural areas are going to get it the worst. This is not good. And the way that the healthcare system is in America, it's already stressed. Okay, I'm tired. It's been a long day. It's are already stressed. Okay. So you now have a stressed healthcare system that never made it to any type of universal healthcare. And when I say stressed, meaning like I can tell you, I'm about to be 50. Okay, so I've been on this earth almost a century now. I can tell you the difference between when I had my child to when my child had her child. And I was like, the healthcare system has went backwards. Like, how's that possible in a 30-something year period? Why are we moving backwards and not forwards? How's her care way less than the care I had? Okay. And I'm like, that makes absolutely no sense to me. That was number one. That was just shocking to me. It was a nightmare. I will tell you about it. But I was just shocked at the level of care. Now, we end up eventually getting her to the right doctor. Her care went up tremendously, but her doctor was also an advocate. So that's why her care was good. Okay. You go to the doctor's office, your number, people are getting you in and out. People are not really taking time to really assess the situation. It's not preventative care, it's more reactive care. You hear a lot of doctors and nurses telling you this right now. So this is not something that I'm saying that should be like abnormal for you to hear right now. Okay. If you're paying attention to the people who really care about people, they are sounding the alarms and have been for years. Okay. About the healthcare system in America. And now you got these cuts coming. And they're telling you it's only going to impact those who are not working, those who should be working, those who this and other. Y'all, this is going to impact everybody. I want you to really think about this. Okay, let's say you're in a city or a big city. Let's just play out this scenario because you don't understand how this is going to impact you, but we're about to break this down right now. You have rural areas all around America. Okay, number one. It doesn't matter what state you lived in. I lived in 3 different states now, and I travel all the time the country. You have rural communities everywhere. Most of rural communities' hospitals were already shutting down anyway. And my understanding is 900 hospitals that are on the brink of shutting down throughout America already. And I think one announced already that it's going to close. I got to confirm that is the case. I think one has already announced just because of these cuts. They already know they're not going to be able to sustain or stay open. So now you're in the city. Your folks around you that are in the rural cities or in the smaller towns no longer have health care. I want you to really unpack this. So now they have to come to your hospital, right? When they need care. So what does that do now? That is now going to stress the system that's in the city. On top of that, because of these cuts, there's no guarantee they have insurance. So now, on top of that, that hospital now has to figure out how do they balance what's already ridiculously high and take care of all the citizens. Now, what happens? A lot of times they get passed on to the people who can't pay. Y'all don't realize how this is going to impact everybody. I just want y'all to really sit here and think about that. So now you're dealing with overcrowded hospitals, especially if you're in a city that is surrounded by a lot of small towns and rural areas. And it's not the people's fault at all. So then we get into the details of the bill because I was just like, I got to get into the details of how they're going to do this, how they're going to determine who's going to lose their insurance, who's getting kicked off, how they're going to make a decision on, oh, well, you have Medicaid, Medicare, now you no longer have it. Like, how are you making this decision? And I'm still trying to figure out, I haven't heard clearly that it's not going to impact the kids because I know it's a lot of kids that are on Medicaid. Most people think Medicaid, they're like, okay, this is for older folks, older Americans, or Americans who are adults who have low income or this and other. They're not realizing that the majority, all of the state healthcare systems for the kids are Medicaid. TennCare, I don't know what it's called in Georgia. I can't remember the one in Indiana. It's called something else. It's not called Medicaid, but that is your child health care for your kids in your state. So when you listen to the way they're supposed to determine this, it is supposed to be a review or something every 6 months. And if you don't get the review document to your household and you miss it, then you have the possibility of being cut. And if you get cut or if you get denied, it doesn't sound like it's a lot of leeway that you can get back on the system. Okay, we're talking about healthcare. I'm not talking about I ain't even covered SNAP because SNAP is. We're gonna get into that, but we're talking about the healthcare. So I want you to think about this. We're talking about the federal government. We're not talking about where you can go down and this is the conversation you can have with your local office or this and another. So on top of that, they pass it to the states. So the state kicks you off or doesn't kick you off, and the federal feels like you should get kicked off, then the state gets penalized. Are y'all hearing this? This is an absolute nightmare. Absolutely a nightmare. Arizona alone is already saying that they're going to lose $2.1 billion a year in Medicaid funding. $1 billion. We're not talking millions. You can't keep tax cuts of $1 trillion and not impact somebody. I don't even know what to say. I mean, it is devastating to me that this is occurring. Rural communities are definitely going to feel it the worst. And it is, I don't even know what to say. You know, a lot of people are telling people to start calling your state reps, start calling your local reps, because it's really going to come down to the states to determine if they're going to keep their healthcare system in check or keep it as it is at the levels it is right now, or are they going to cut as the cuts take effect. So most of the things take effect January 2026, January 1st, 2026, so next year. And everybody's in budget season right now. This is budget season, okay? So any municipality, any major corporation, everybody's in budget season right now, okay? So they are determining, they're already looking at this. I think one state already said, hey, we're going to have to cut our health care. They have already, like the bill just passed 3 days ago. You already have states coming out saying we're going to have to cut our health care. And most people won't realize what that means until they get that letter or they try to go to the doctor and take their child to the doctor, and then they're no longer on health care. Okay? So that's where that is with the Medicaid and Medicare. It's not going to just impact the elderly, y'all. It's not going to just impact those low income. It is going to impact everybody because it's a ripple effect. The healthcare system in America is so jacked up. That's the only way I can explain it. That, yeah, this is not good. But you're going to have to make a decision. And I've been saying this since the pandemic. And now that time has came. And I'm like, it's going to come down to the communities helping each other. It's going to come down to people pulling together. It's going to come down to ingenuity. You deciding, start having those conversations with your family members, even those who don't understand. Because, we got family members at all different levels. All of us have that. Some of us understand what's going on. Some of us don't have a clue. Some of us just trying to get through day to day. We ain't going to realize it until it impacts us. So it's time to start having those serious conversations now. Even if they don't listen, at least they'll try to remember, oh, that person did have that conversation with me, right? Or whatever. And if you're the person that has to help your family at times, start sitting them down and be like, look, we're going to impact all of us. We're going to have to figure out some things and we're going to have to pull together. Or this is what we need to do. Now, depending upon who you're listening to, hopefully you're listening to somebody who's really giving you a lot of good tips, a lot of good things. You're not just caught up in the nonsense. Nonsense, I say, is like, if you're on social media, hopefully you're following good channels that are giving you pertinent information, especially right now. I mean, everybody needs to decompress. Everybody needs to have fun. Everybody needs entertainment. But right now, this is a time where you need to follow channels that are giving you real information and how you need to be prepared. The SSI. So that's the next thing. I want to cover SNAP. Well, I guess we're going to SNAP first, and then we're going to SSI. Okay. Let me write that down because I did not put that on here, but I should have. So SNAP benefits are going to be cut, right? And most people are just like, oh, it's not going to impact me. It's going to impact, those who have food stamps, et cetera, and so forth. So again, same thing with the hospital. Like I just explained to you, I want you to think about the grocery stores. Y'all, business is business at the end of the day. Okay? It's a profit and loss statement. It is revenue. It is certain things that you plan for a loss. It is certain things that you plan to have cuts, revenue, this, that, and other. I don't even know how grocery stores are getting ready to make up for this loss. We're talking about keeping grocery stores open now. I'm just talking about having grocery stores in your community. Because now rural areas already are suffering from healthcare, already don't have grocery stores. I know plenty of rural cities who are like, we want to try to get a grocery store here. We want to attempt to get, a hospital here or some type of prompt care or something, and they're struggling just to do those simple things so they don't have to go to the nearest city just to shop for their groceries. And now we are cutting off SNAP. So most people like, when the propaganda is that most people who are on SNAP really can be working and they don't need to get food stamps, when everybody that is working is complaining about the cost of food right now. I want you really, let's be serious. It's not as if people are not already complaining about the cost of how food is so expensive. It doesn't matter if you go out to eat or if you go to the grocery store. And so now you got the people who need the help because y'all food. First of all, when you look at I should have pulled up that wheel. If I can find that chart, I'm gonna pull it up. It shows you how much is spent on welfare versus the defense budget versus the budgets in America. It is not that many people. that the overall budget in the U.S. budget, and when it comes to like certain programs, etc., it is not that big piece of our budget, y'all. Defense is our biggest piece of the budget. So yeah, to see the strike that's about to happen versus what we're doing does not make sense. So for SNAP folks, I think it's the same regulations. You're going to end up having to recertify every 6 months. I think what most people are telling you to do is just make sure you call the agency, make sure they have your most current address so you don't miss any communication of anybody trying to communicate with you. Make sure they have your most current contact information. That is the only thing I can suggest for you to do right now. So let's get into SSI. It's going to be up to the state. So if you're, let me talk about this. If you're in a state that if you're in a state, I'm trying to see how to put this. If you're in a state where the state actually cares about its citizens, okay, because I'm going to keep it real with you. And I'm talking about everyday people. I'm not talking about the rich. I'm talking about the folks that just everyday people that are going to want to make sure that, hey, we can't let SNAP, Medicaid, or anything get cut this state. We're going to figure this out in our budget. Then you're going to be in an okay state. Now, it's going to be some states, like some are already announcing, we're going to have to cut this. So that's where you may need to make some extreme decisions based off of your situation, your family situation, what you need to do or not do. Is that a state you need to stay in? Is that a state you need to leave? Do you need to try to move somewhere else? I mean, that's just the times we're in. I've been saying America's going to go through a major shift. I knew it was going to happen. I really thought it wouldn't start till like 2027, though. I don't know why it's starting so early. But we at the beginning of it too. So this ain't even the deep of it. This is the beginning of it. Okay. So just imagine where we're headed to. Now, SSI. So they're telling you that Social Security income is not going to be taxed. Here we go again. This is the truth behind it. So the tax deduction is going to go up to $6,000, meaning when you file your taxes, the tax deduction on Social Security income will go up to $6,000, which means that those who have a large amount that they're receiving for Social Security or have a higher income level in their retirement are going to receive a bigger deduction for a short period of time. Because remember, everything that was impacting the workers, if you're not corporate or big business, all this ends 2028. So we're talking about the next 3 years. Well, 2 years. It's actually 2 years. I just thought about that. Well, now I guess they're going to include this tax year. So it's 3 years. So 3 years. So for most part, it's probably going to be a wash because majority of people on SSI, a lot of them don't pay taxes anyway already. So they're not going to experience anything. The deduction, the standard deduction, it's not like it's a tax refund you get back. It's just the deduction that they take so you don't owe any taxes back. It's not like you get the money back. Okay, so that standard deduction, that deduction that you can take, that's what it is. And the standard deduction, though, now that did get moved up to the highest standard deduction for everybody. So that could be a benefit for some. That's one thing that did come out the bill. But again, how's that impacting you daily? How is that really benefiting you in the long term? Especially when Medicaid, Medicare is getting cut, you're gonna feel the pinch somewhere else. So it's like it's a benefit, but then it's a wash. So, and depending upon your situation, your personal situation, your family situation, it may actually impact you more on the negative side because now, if you have if you're in a sound generation like me, where we have elder parents, depending upon what our parents did or not, some of their care may be on us. Now, if their Medicaid, Medicare starts getting cut, then guess what? Who flips the bill? Then how do we prepare for ourselves to go into retirement? And we're still trying to help millennials or Gen Z because they just don't have the same opportunities that we had when we grew up, right? To get into their own homes. So they're stretched and the income is not where it needs to be for them. Now, you got some people, again, we just covered the numbers. I'm going to go back to the chart because, everybody think everybody's millionaires in America. This is not the case, y'all. We're going to go back to this chart because I want y'all to remember when you hear everybody talk about income in America and where everybody is, this is the truth. 58% of households earn under $50,000 a year. That is the majority of Americans is over 50%. So that's the majority. 76% of households make less than $75,000 a year. So everybody else is, above. But that's 76%. So that's what? I'm tired. Give me math. What's the math? Let's see. So 24% making $75,000 or above. Okay. That means that is not the majority. And I'll be honest, I'm proud of everybody that make good money. I love to see millionaires. I'm proud of them. I don't quite understand the billionaires though. I don't know why you need $1 billion. Most people, once they get over a certain amount, they become unrealistic about things and they think they can, they start coming up with stuff because they bored. I'm just gonna be honest with you. That's just what happens. When you get to a certain point, you get bored and you're like, okay, what else is it for me to do? So then you be trying to fly to the moon, create planets, all type of stuff. Okay, block the sun, all the things. Okay, because you're just bored at that point. So it's why people need something to do. Okay, but that's story for different days. We'll get into that because they might delete my YouTube channel. Y'all need to know about that. Y'all just think it's just simple stuff, but now these, they get to the extreme. Okay, after a certain wage limit, but 100K plus is definitely under 20%. So it's about 12% or 15% of people who make over 100K plus in America. That's not a majority of people. Again, when I started this video, I said I'm an everyday people person. I am a majority person. Where is the majority of your citizens falling? That is what your society should be set up for. Because regardless of however you want to twist it, I don't care if you say everybody's lazy, nobody wants to work, nobody wants to do this, they don't work hard enough, they're not doing this, they're doing that. That is what your environment is creating. So you got to change your environment if you think people should be making more. Simple as that. And if that's not the case, if the majority of your citizens fall under $75K a year, your cost of living should be based off of that. People always say other countries, cost of living is less. That is not true, guys. The cost of living is based off where the majority of their citizens fall income-wise. You are in America. America is not set up that way. They're set up where everything's for sale. That is the difference. That is the biggest difference. That's what you have to begin to understand. People like, oh, it's so much cheaper living where else. It's not. They're basing it off of where the majority of citizens fall, income-wise. America is a free fall. So that's why a lot of people are feeling it. Okay? So that's the big, beautiful bill. Them are the points that really are going to impact you. Share this video out. Talk to people. Let them know what's going on, what's coming up. You know, start talking to your families about really some plans, some serious plans. It's just time. Pull your Social Security report. Hopefully you already know to do that. If you don't, pull your Social Security report. If you're an American citizen and you live in America, pull your Social Security report. I don't care what age you are. It is a lot that's happening at the federal government level. And that's how we are pull your Social Security report. Okay? So you can make sure you know what your numbers are. That's how we're going to advise you to do. Pull your family members' reports for those that you know may become in your care. Pull their reports so you can understand where their numbers are. So, you know, if you read between the lines, that's all I'm going to tell you. Pull your reports so you can have them. Also, you know, just get with your family, talk to them, let them know about some of the changes that are happening. You have elderly in your family or parents you have to take care of, whatever, you know, start pulling their data. Talk to the Medicaid, Medicare folks. It is a helpline. I don't think I have it on here. I'll put it in the comments. It is a former Social Security administrator. I think he was the head of Social Security Administration. He has literally came out of retirement, created a YouTube channel, and he's helping folks daily right now through the Social Security Administration and Medicare, Medicaid questions because it is that bad. So if that tells you that, hey, the former top person came out of retirement to create a YouTube channel to answer questions on a daily basis. I just want you to just sit on that. Okay? So, with that being said, at the end of the day, I always will tell y'all that we will get through it. We will figure it out. We used to be horse and buggy. We used to do trade for a living. So, you know, we will figure it out. We're human beings. We will navigate. This is not to scare you. This is for preparation. So you can't say I didn't tell you so. You can't say you didn't learn. You didn't know. Some people are still gonna say that. Some people be like, I didn't realize it was gonna hurt me. I didn't realize it was gonna hit my family. I didn't realize it was gonna impact me. There's a lot that you're gonna hear of next like 2 or 3 years. Okay, you're already hearing it now, but you're gonna hear it more and more because most people are not gonna understand and not gonna realize it until after the fact that they're getting impacted from it. Some things to talk about just because it's a lot happening, just really quick. If you watch this video, pay attention to foreign media. If you are still watching a news person in America, you know, make sure you also watching some independent news channels so you can get the real information of what's really happening. Couple things that have shifted in America that's really important for you to know, though, that happened this week. They have opened up cryptocurrency, or they're working to get open cryptocurrency to be part of mortgages. Okay. I think it was Texas who was allowing gold and silver for purchases right now. Ripple applied for their cryptocurrency license in America, I believe. Um, it was one other thing that is going to impact finances. So the currency is going to change. We have been, I've been telling y'all this for a while. And I've been telling you for every different level of income what you should be doing. And hopefully you've been doing it. And we've been talking about that for the last couple of years. And so hopefully you have been navigating based off of wherever you are to do what you need to do so you have diversified your income. And when it says diversified, this means like you have an asset, you got some gold, silver coins, you have some cryptocurrency, you have cash, you have some money in the bank. You just don't know where things will go. Okay. So we're just in the middle of a big shift. It'll be a time period, but it definitely will happen in our lifetimes. Okay. It's not like far away. And you got AI that's on the rise. And I'm going to do an AI video. I know I've been promised to do that. I just been pulling a lot of data because I haven't really been following it too much. But now because I'm seeing all the layoff reports and I'm seeing that this year is going to be a heavy layoff year, that means that AI will be rolling out pretty quickly. So I will be giving out, I will do an updated AI video so you guys can be aware of what industries to go into if you get laid off. Okay. And I'll talk more about the book at the end of jobs that I read and what jobs they say will be available in the future and this industries and kind of refresh my AI video. I have one that was done, I think 4 years ago. It's on my YouTube channel. If you search, that still pretty much stands. It's just now we're in the change now. So it's going to be more relevant now. So I'm going to do an updated video so that you guys are aware of how to navigate through this time. And we're all navigating through it, including me. So we just got to help each other through all of this. It's not time to be scared. It's time for navigation right now. Let me make sure I covered everything because this was too critical not to go live. It was too critical not to take my time with. And make sure people can come back and reference this when they need to. So they'll know what to do. Your action steps, though. One, I have finally wrote a book. I wrote my first book as an ebook. Go ahead and check it out and sign up for the wait list on it. I'm in the process of editing it, and I will have it out to purchase soon. So go ahead and sign up for the wait list. So when it does drop, you can grab it. Oh, like something just failed. I don't know what it was. Oh, like that just freaked me out. What was that? Okay. And then if what I would suggest you do, number one, so let's kind of recap, just so you know, big beautiful bill. You should assess your family. Okay, assess yourself. If you don't have anybody to assess, like if you're not really worried about nobody but yourself, then write down your plan, pull your Social Security administration document so you can see what you're supposed to receive at 65, 62, whatever the new age is, because I think they raised it again. But the problem is, I got to mention that. Problem is the trust fund for Social Security is about to go bankrupt by 2033 or 34. And with these tax cuts, it actually will end up going bankrupt. It's scheduled to go bankrupt 6 months sooner now. So I always say I'm just going to be prepared to get in a class action lawsuit when we sue the government for our Social Security, Medicare. Because obviously I fall into that category of looks like we're not going to have a Social Security, Medicare. So that, hey, sign me up, whoever do it first, okay? So pull that so you'll have that information. Pull it on your loved ones so that you'll have their information, okay? Then, write out your plan like you did when you were in the pandemic. I told you to make sure that you have a plan for your family. If such and such happens, make sure you have those things you need, whatever it is, stockpile of food, water. The basics are always critical, right? Make sure you know how to get in touch with everybody, whatever that may be, what that may look like. Make sure you have a plan of who house you're going to, because it's better to be in numbers. Even if you're not around family, then get your community. I talked about this, I think, on my Snapchat or something. I talked about if you don't have anybody, if you're not near family, then you should have at least one friend that y'all can band together. They know your situation. They understand that you are in a town or city that you're not near family, and y'all are ready to band together if something goes down. Okay? Everybody should have community, at least one person. At least one person. If you don't, figure out who that one person is. So you're not dealing with anything crazy alone. Okay? So those are my suggestions. Begin to wrap up that plan, begin to have those serious conversations, and excuse me, also, always make sure you find a way to ground yourself, find a way to have entertainment through the chaos, because there's going to be a lot of chaos. And then also take breaks. I don't get on social media often at all anymore. I barely pay. I be forgetting about Facebook. I forget Facebook even exists. I was trying to do something on Facebook. I had to go to today. I had to call somebody and ask them how to use it. Y'all don't talk about me. That's one platform that could go away tomorrow and I would not miss a beat. I don't do Facebook at all. I don't even know how to use it no more. I just realized I couldn't even figure out how to look at something on our business page. I was like, Lord, this is bad. So I'm not a TikToker. I'm on IG just for dummy stuff and laughs and look at astrology videos because I'm into astrology heavy and those type of things. But other than that, I take it with a grain of salt, okay? Especially because AI videos are everywhere. I don't know if you guys have been noticing that most of the videos now are AI, like it could be. This is me really talking, but they have platforms that can mimic me at this point. So most people are using that to do their videos a lot of times right now. So you're not even looking at a real person. You can't really tell unless you really have a keen eye for it. But I can tell you it's a lot out there now. I can tell the difference. It's really interesting. So, but make sure you always ground, make sure you still entertainment, make sure you still enjoy life at the end of the day. However you want to look at it, whatever you believe in, you signed up to be here during this time, and it's to help each other get through this and do this transition. The transition is happening around the world. Every country is going through some major shift right now. It is a change in empires and structure and power. But at the end of the day, it's going to be about the people. So I'm Ronique. I hope this video helps somebody. I will talk to you guys later and have a blessed one.